Hi, I'm Michael Ball. I'm here at the British Craft Trade Fair 2012 and I'm talking to Nick Ozan, who is highly commended in the Craft and Design Newcomer Award. Now, Nick, would you like to tell us a little bit about your work?
Yeah, I'm a silk weaver, not specifically trained in silk weaving, but it's the way my work has developed, and I actually weave not under my own name but under a studio label called Leto and Ariadne. And I always get asked where does the name come from. It's actually Greek mythology. Leto was the mother of Artemis and Apollo, who were a twin god and goddess, and she's known as Leto the golden spindle. And when you're turning fleece into yarn, you actually do it the old-fashioned style, you do it with a spindle. And Ariadne gave Theseus a ball of twine to tie to the outside of the maze when he went through to kill the Minotaur in the centre, so that he could wind it back up and find his way out.
That's wonderfully classical.
Very deep. Not always that deep, but it just seemed to... It's one of those moments that seemed to come together at just all of a sudden, you know, like a light bulb moment. And even before I knew I was going to be a weaver, that's what I knew the company name would be.
What do you mean?
Originally, I studied in Winchester in the art school. I did my degree there from 1996 to 99, so that's when I actually graduated. I didn't actually come back to weaving until I was 30, so there were about 6 years in between. That's really because when I graduated, I looked at my graduate work and thought, I'm not happy with any of this, and weaving hadn't actually clicked. So I worked in London for 10 years doing sort of account management, sales and marketing, and I got to the stage where I was going to be 30, and it's one of those, not a midlife crisis because I'm not at the midlife yet, but
it's a marker point.
Yeah, it's the decade, isn't it? And you sort of reassess where you've got, and I just had this sudden gut feeling I was in the wrong place, I was doing the wrong thing, so I was moaning about this to my mother, and she sort of gave me a bit of a push. She actually gave me my first loom for my birthday. So I was working full time in London. I had this loom in the corner of my London flat, and I'd come home every evening and I'd sort of do a bit of weaving and do it on the weekends, and it kind of escalated until I finally cracked it at 2 AM one morning weaving a particular design, and I thought, this is it, I can do this, it's the right thing to be doing. So I actually started the label Leto and Ariadne in 2009, and it's been gradually building since then.
So Nick, could you tell us a little bit about the main techniques that you use?
Well, I work on it's a very traditional wood-framed loom, so it's actually powered by a combination of my hands and my feet, really. There's no electricity, no computer working on it. And I'm actually using quite a fine silk, which is actually quite widely spaced to get a proper drape and a fall on the cloth, because obviously it's something you're going to have against your skin the majority of the time, so it's quite important it feels soft, that it's comfortable, and it's really woven with that in mind. And the way the colours are combined, I tend to have colours that you wouldn't necessarily put together. You sort of think they would clash, but actually I think if it's in the composition of an entire piece, like the entire width of a warp across here, it will actually balance out as a whole rather than one colour just clashing and sort of sticking out. I think it actually lifts it and brings everything together. So that's quite a feature of my work. And also the weave itself is quite subtle, where you've got this very simple line that just reverses every sort of 60 threads or so. So going through the piece, the more you look at it, the more subtle detail you see, but as a whole it actually looks quite simple.
So it's a very labour-intensive process. Do you just make one scarf at a time?
No, I actually make 3 at a time on the length of the warp, so they're actually all woven to be the correct width. So if you look on the corner, that is the actual selvage. It's not cut and then sewn into individual pieces. This is one scarf, it's made as an individual piece, but I can make 3 one after the other.
Yes.
And then of course all the edgings are done, so all this is hand knotted. So I spend a lot of evenings with the television on in the background, listening to Downton Abbey or something with a pin and a lot of patience, and then go along and do all of these.
Well, it's a great result. It's worth the time.
Thanks.
So Nick, what are you hoping to achieve at BCTF?
Well, this obviously is my first time here. It's really a way of getting to meet more trade-orientated buyers. So it's the people from galleries, museums, just smaller boutiques and more independent shops in different parts of the country that, because I'm based in the Cotswolds, I wouldn't necessarily find. Even if you look online, you don't always know what you're looking for, really. But also it's a way of meeting the people face to face. I mean, there's quite a few people who've come through on the last few days where I've had that initial contact with them, and that sort of the first discussion, the first chat, and I've been able to show them firsthand what my product is. And I'm sure some of those will actually build on, and I will be stocking some of these people over the next 12 months. And also, it's actually just been a really good time. It's quite nice to get out of the studio and to meet some of the other makers, so that's always a big plus as well.
No, absolutely. I think a lot of makers lead fairly solitary lives, working away in whatever their discipline is. I often think it's a little bit like medieval monks in their cells, and so it's good for makers to get together. Well, Nick, thank you very much for talking to us, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you.